The Walking Dead has made a lot of strange decisions over the years, but I think having the animators from Food Fight take over a couple of scenes, that might be the worst decision of all. What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 1, Lions We Cross. So before we get into this, I want to do a quick little, update about how I'm going to be tackling The Walking Dead from here on out, because obviously they introduced a lot of spin-off shows, things were released at a certain time, kind of similar to how I did like the Arrowverse shows, or even some of the CBS shows. So I decided to go ahead and look up a list to see when I should be reviewing certain shows. So I have my list right here. So first of all, we have Season 10, Episodes 1 through 16. So I'll tackle those 16 episodes first. Then I'll take a break, jump into The Walking Dead World Beyond Season 1. Then we have Fear the Walking Dead Season 6, and then I'll finish up Season 10 with episodes 17 through 22. And then from there, it just kind of becomes a hodgepodge. We have Season 11, episodes 1 through 8, World Beyond Season 2, Fear the Walking Dead Season 7, episodes 1 through 8, Season 11 of Walking Dead 9 through 16, Fear Season 7, 9 through 16, Tales of the Walking Dead Season 1. So I'm going to try to approach this as best I can. It's going to be a little bit difficult, but probably how I'm going to handle it is based on the season I'm currently on. So The Walking Dead Season 10 is what I'm working on, and by the time I'm done with Season 10, I'll have gone through The World Beyond Season 1 and Fear Season 6. Same for Season 11. By the time I'm done with Season 11, I'll have gone through Fear Season 7, World Beyond Season 2, and Tales Season 1. So it's going to be a little confusing. I kind of wanted to do that similar to how I did the DC movies that I had to go through, just so I could put it in a little short and update anybody who's interested in watching my Walking Dead reviews. But now getting into this first episode of Season 10, gotta say it's kind of your typical build-up episode where you're seeing where everybody is. I'll be honest, there are a lot of characters that really haven't connected with me, so unfortunately I don't remember a lot of names. Honestly, there are some storylines that I've forgotten. I probably should have watched maybe a recap of Season 9 or maybe my reviews to remember what I thought of Season 9. But obviously the Whisperers are still the big bad at the moment. A lot of this episode is focused on the main characters and their different groups and trying not to upset Alpha and her Whisperers, whether or not they're actually back because they found a skin mask. And then for some reason a satellite falls out of orbit and crashes and burns a forest, which forces them to go into the Whisperers' territory to stop the fire from spreading. So in that way, it was a little bit of a convoluted episode. We kind of were getting different pieces of everybody's story before the satellite fell. And then, of course, ultimately culminating to that moment whenever they stop the fire, they kill a bunch of walkers, and then Carol sees Alpha at the end of the episode. So I'll talk about that scene first, because I will say that's probably the most frustrating thing, because knowing Carol, the moment she sees Alpha, that's it. Alpha should be dead right now because Carol sees her before Alpha sees Carol. And so all it would take is just her surprising her arrow through the head. We're done. The story wouldn't continue because this is not a scenario where you cut the head off of the Whisperers and 3 more take her place. A lot of the Whisperers are only a part of this group because they're scared of her. But if you take her out, that takes out most of the Whisperers. A lot of them would just leave because they wouldn't have a reason to stay anymore. There would be some left, and there would definitely be retaliation from the likes of Beta, maybe some of her more loyal followers, but they would not be nearly as much of a threat if she were not heading them up. Even though she doesn't look that intimidating, the show wants me to believe that she is. They want me to believe that even though she looks kind of scrawny, she's actually big and strong and able to take down grown men. So that's what I have to go with, is that she is that intimidating on her own that she keeps people around. So again, she's gone, the Whisperers are no longer a threat. But Carol just stares at her, mouth agape for some reason until Alpha sees her, so it's kind of a stupid scene based on who Carol is. I know they're trying to show she doesn't want to be this ruthless killer anymore that she has been for so long, but this is a scenario where this would save so many people's lives. I mean, after what happened with the heads on the spike last season, after what happened to the one kid, I don't remember his name now, but basically her surrogate son getting killed, this should be a moment where she goes, screw it, just arrow gone, we're done. But as far as some of the stories that are going on, some of them I don't find that interesting. A lot of the story in Alexandria at the moment is focused on Rosita and her baby and this weird, I don't even know what to call it, but infatuation Eugene has with her and Father Gabriel has with her, and I think Sadiq is his name, the baby he's taking care of and what he saw at the end of last season. Also the weird scene whenever the doctor comes up and Sadiq is like staring at his mouth for some reason. I don't exactly know why. And he even makes a comment about it, and some weird comments as well, like, oh, just shut up and kiss me already, right? Like, who says this in everyday life? But that was kind of the main focus. The other two stories, I wish we could have gotten a little bit more because obviously Negan is there. He's helping out a bit, but of course people don't trust him, so they keep their eyes on him. And then the one girl, I don't remember her name now, but I'm pretty sure she's Alpha's daughter. There's definitely that mistrust of her there that I do find somewhat more interesting. So it kind of sucks that we do have those two stories which have potential to be very interesting, and instead we're focused more on Rosita, her baby, and then the weird love square surrounding her at the moment. Daryl and Carol, I thought, had some good scenes together, interesting conversations between the two of them. It's a story that I do understand from Carol's point of view because she doesn't want to be a killer anymore. But at the same time, having that type of mentality, it keeps the people you love alive. And so trying to stay away from them, trying not to, I guess, take out other people that are threatening them because you don't want to be this awful person anymore, it kind of makes you awful in a different way. Because now you're basically putting their lives at risk because you're not willing to step up and go, again, take out Alpha at the end of this episode. So it's a bit of a moral dilemma that I wish we maybe would explore a little bit more and maybe hear the counterpoint to what Carol's trying to accomplish instead of just focused on, no guys, if she keeps killing people willy-nilly, then she's just a terrible murderous person. I feel like that's just too simplistic a viewpoint on it. But the final interesting story to talk about is Michonne and Aaron up on the bridge. Because I do really like what Michonne says up on the bridge. And it kind of is the opposite point of what I'm trying to say about Carol, where Aaron just wants to stop being a nice person and wants to go out and start essentially taking the fight to the Whisperers. But as Michonne points out, it's not her wanting him to be nice, it's wanting to be smart. Like letting your emotions get the best of you and wanting to just go after them because of what they've done. That's when you set yourself up to make a mistake and end up getting killed. So I really like that conversation. And again, it's almost the opposite of where Carol is trying to push away the killer side of her, which then opens up the possibility that people she loves might die because she's not taking care of people who are threatening the people she loves. Aaron wanting to step up and stop being nice and be more ruthless also opens himself up to being a little bit less cautious, essentially throwing himself into traps. But anyway, that's about all there is to talk about. It's not all the stories. There's a lot in this episode, and that is one thing that I will say. This cast has grown so much that there's a lot of stories to focus on, and it's kind of a problem. It's why I don't mind the fact that we are getting some spin-offs. Like some people might think, this is just too much of The Walking Dead. But I would much rather prefer if we did have different stories breaking off from here. You know, you've got the stories in Alexandria, you've got the stories in Oceanside, you've got Daryl and Carol and what they're going through. Like each of those on their own could probably give you your own show. So the fact that we're trying to focus on all three in one episode, it really gets bogged down. And again, I kind of feel like a lot of these characters I don't even really know because there's been so much else to focus on. That's why I'm going to try to approach these reviews by at least just talking about the ones that interest me or have something to talk about. If there's a story I don't talk about, like for instance, with the one girl who's deaf, I think it's her sister also seems to be going deaf. That story's not that interesting. It's just something that's happening at the moment. But anyway, that'll do it for this one. So on to the next episode. I'll see you there. And finally, episode 2, We Are the End of the World. Yes, I'm going to be tackling this 2 episodes at a time. It's just going to make it easier as far as not having any weird breaks. Yeah, this one I just couldn't get into. Part of the problem is I don't feel like Alpha is compelling enough as a character for me that I really am interested in seeing more about her and more about her history. So getting to see how she came across Beta, how they ended up connecting, and also seeing some of the stuff that's been going on while our main characters have been doing their own thing, none of it's really that interesting. Like for instance, we see the one girl who had to give up her baby, she finally snaps after having to do that. And even though she was about to be killed, Alpha still showed her mercy because she understands the pain. Because she also couldn't kill Lydia, even though Lydia basically turned on her. So she understands that, she shows her mercy, and then the girl still tries to kill her anyway. Which makes me wonder, how on earth has Alpha not died in all this time? If she's forcing people to do stuff like this. We already saw one couple in the last season, I think, that tried to overthrow her and she essentially shut them down. So it feels like this group is not stable, and yet she's still here. She's still alive somehow. I don't feel like that's realistic. Yeah, some people may have bought into her mentality, but Beta even points out there are a lot of people who saw Alexandria, saw how all the main characters are living, and of course they would rather do that because normal people do not just want to live walking out in the woods covered in walker skin and blood. Normal people don't want to do that. Yes, there are some messed up people, so of course she would have a bit of a following, but to think that she has a huge group big enough to keep her safe, that all are just like, yeah, sure, we'll live out here in the grime and the muck and follow you, it doesn't make any sense to me. So that's kind of why this episode, I really wasn't that invested. I felt myself looking at my phone a little too much. I might have missed some important stuff that might come back later, and that'll suck. But the fact of the matter is, you gotta get me invested in her, and you're not. She's not an interesting character. She's just crazy. Thinking that, oh yes, the walkers, that's the way we should live. It's a stupid way to think. But I think the fact that they're also showing a lot of her hypocrisy, it's another reason why I don't feel like her group will last long. Because a lot of people, they follow her, they make these decisions because they think she sticks to her guns, so they feel compelled to do the same. But we know she's not. She didn't kill Lydia when she should have. I mean, Gamma, if she ever finds out that Lydia's still alive, I'm sure that's going to piss her off. Because she just had to kill her sister because she believes what Alpha's preaching, that you should leave everything behind. And so her sister not being strong enough to leave her baby behind, for her, she's like, yeah, I mean, that's weakness. And yet Alpha left Lydia alive, and she's still very clearly torn up about it. She's not able to just let her go like she preaches she does. So it's going to be very easy if Gamma ever happens to see Lydia, and all of a sudden she's going to turn on her. She's going to realize Alpha's full of shit. I mean, the fact that Beta doesn't instantly turn on her, because it seems like it's hard to tell exactly what the relation is. When Alpha killed the dude that he was kept in his closet, it seemed to really break him up. So I'm assuming it was a family member or a loved one, something like that, which is why he wears, I think, his face the whole time, if I caught that right. So the fact that he's bought into this, and then finds out she left Lydia alive, to me, that would break his trust in her. But yeah, he still just follows her anyway. So there's a lot about this that I don't feel is very realistic. And it makes her look weak, it makes him look weak. They don't make interesting villains. The only thing that's interesting about them is how they attack people. The fact that they are just walking among the herd, they could attack you at any moment. You wouldn't be expecting it. Of course, now the main characters do expect it because they know about them. So I feel like the one element of surprise that they had is now gone. The only thing that made them effective is now gone. And now you're trying to make them interesting characters by showing their backstories. And a lot of their backstories don't add up. They don't make sense. So I don't feel like I'm really connecting with this group. And the thing is, if you're not going to have an interesting backstory, because Negan, we still don't know a whole lot about his backstory, I don't think, yet. We know some things, but there are still a lot of gaps in his story. But the reason why he was interesting, the reason why a lot of people liked him as a character, is because he was a well-written character. He was interesting to watch. He was charismatic, great actor. I'm not saying this lady's doing a bad job of acting, but the character itself doesn't have a whole lot of depth to it. There's not anything interesting to watch about her. She's not entertaining to watch. So unfortunately, there's just not much here. And so having an episode fully focused on her, it's not a good episode. But anyways, those are all of my thoughts. So with all that being said, cue the outro. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that review. I hope you enjoyed it. First and foremost, please leave your thoughts in the comments down below. I love having discussions with people, so whatever your thoughts were, whether you agree or disagree with me, please leave them down below. Obviously, no spoilers. Also, if you did find yourself enjoying this review and you want to see more, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out. I also have a gaming channel as well as a channel where I talk about soccer, so if you want to give those a follow as well, that would be much appreciated. And lastly, if you want to help me improve upon the quality of these channels, I do have a Patreon. All of this is in the description below. With all that being said, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to y'all later. Peace out.